Okay, so pretty stoned. Dabs are doing me nice. Dabs are doing me nice. I've realized through watching my videos, I talk pretty quick. I like to talk about my aspect of my hopefulness that I believe the United States of America can achieve a status of digital and thus so much more democratic fluidity in its legislative branch. Why do we have election dates in the first place and term limits? What if we just voted on laws as they came up as ideas? More like the internet. From a secure site, a government site. Part two is judicial. Well, I'm back from my break. Lit the cigarette and everything. Got a couple of drags. You know what? I wanted to mention on the crushes. These are crushed silvers. So they start out menthol, and the little bead goes extra menthol. I don't want to discuss judicial and that process. I don't really do much with, in my mindset of like trying to picture a future that everyone can be happy with. Because I love agape, AGAPE, whatever. I grew up with it as the 4 years of Catholic school and high school. But instead, I'd just like to talk about real quick in the last 20 seconds of this minute video. Perhaps as life terms extend, we need to think about term limits, possibly legislation, or judicial, or presidential. Let's get back to executives. A real quick note, you can talk about this as much as you'd like. This is actually not the first executive, legislative, as it is, or the second video, the judicial branch of my thoughts, but possibly the third over term limits and statutes of limitations. I still have trauma from things that happened that I can't freaking get any justice from of my youth. And I've seen from Facebook and their denial ads, sexual issues have been extended. But what about all crimes? Also, we'll have a secondary over why I feel there should be the abolishment nationwide of the death penalty, especially for fuck you. Now, that break was only like one drag. And literally, I'm trying to keep these videos a minute for certain sharing purposes over file sizes. But let's talk about the death penalty and the abolishment of it nationwide, real quick. Also, I will never run for office in politics. I know I come from a family of it, before me, even before them. Yeah, let's just go for one example. And I want to say that the gentleman, the son of who assassinated Charles Kirk, he plans on dying, as much as I can expect in my cog wheel turning. Who would write a note like that and then say, check it? Who would leave the gun in the woods? He expects to speak to Charlie Kirk in death. I say no. This poor blog has become saturated as much as possible, but I would like to mention the assassin of Charlie Kirk once more. And just gun laws. I believe in gun laws. I love the Second Amendment. I love the First Amendment, but both, I believe, need restrictions on them at a conservative Republican view. We have to see what the past offered, that the laws were made. And thus we make the laws for thus today and thus forth. So we have the technology of assault weapons, spake, and thus restrictions, monitoring, and registering certain weapons, as well as complete denial of availability in certain places. Yeah, so here's the third one. That's actually ended up being the fifth. Donald, you know this one's for you and the entire executive branch up there. Donald, please, Mr. President, sir, I apologize. I'm a dirty bastard junk of a good family. The black sheep. Understand my views. Are slightly cogwheel forward, cogwheel back, and sometimes they even get caught up. Sometimes they run too fast. But my question is, how important is the image of the United States internationally, being the most powerful nation? And how much are we giving? And how much attention are you paying to that as compared to the domestic issues of homelessness, criminality? I don't say illegal immigration, I think that's a fake, but criminality and other issues, of course, along lines. Cheers, sir. Thank you.